This is Sandy McCauley, and in this video I'm going to be showing you how to cut the rhinestone rubber to create a rhinestone template and also apply the rhinestones to the template. So the first thing, this is the rhinestone rubber, and because I like to cut it and apply it to a mat, first I'm going to cut it to size based on my pattern. My pattern is roughly about 6 inches by 6 inches, so what I'm going to do is use my paper trimmer and actually cut this to size. I'm going to make it, let's say 7 inches. I'll give it an extra inch, and I just trim it. And I've already cut the other side to 7 inches. Then the next step is just I peel off the backing sheet, and I discard the backing sheet. And I'm going to put this template right down here on my mat. And then I'm going to use a brayer, because I could try this to a pressing with my hand, but I want to have very good contact between the rubber and the mat. Now the mat has Krylon Easy Tack sprayed on it, which is a repositionable adhesive. And I find, and actually it was one of my customers up in Scottsdale, Lynn Keniston, she discovered that if she applied this rubber directly to the mat and cut it, then when she removes the rubber, all those little circles that are so annoying to get rid of will stay stuck to the mat, and they're very easy to scrape off. So then the next step is just to slide the mat in, drop the pinch wheels. We're going to go offline and move the blade holder over to the front right corner, just like that. Press the origin. Then we're going to go online, and the speed I'm going to be using is 250 millimeters per second, and the force is 101, and that's a force, a scale between 0 and 160, and the force that I use is 101 on the max. Okay, so now that's ready to cut. Now let's come back over here to the software. And this is the design that I made in the other video, the software video that I made earlier. The only change I've made to it is originally I had a blue weed around the outside with the 2 little blue alignment circles that I put in there. I've decided I'm not going to be cutting the weed for my rhinestone template, because I really don't need it, because I've already cut my rubber to the size that I need. So I just changed it to green so that I can elect not to cut this. All right, the other change I'm making is under Cut Plotting Defaults, I turn on Multi-Cut and I set it to 2 passes. And I do that because I find that the circles cut better, they're easier to remove, they stick to the mat if you use 2 passes. And that's something, based on your own experience, maybe you'll find that you can do it in 1 pass, but I kind of like the insurance of using 2. Then under Tool Options, I'm going to set the overcut to 50, and what that does, it makes sure again that there's a, it cuts, when it cuts the circle, the blade goes a little bit further so that it makes sure it gets very clean cut on those circles. Okay, now that I have those set, I'm going to select this to send to the cutter, and then what I'm going to do is I'm going to turn off all the colors I don't want to cut. Now the red line and the black line and the weed line, those are all when I'm going to be cutting vinyl. So all I want to do is I just want to cut the blue alignment circles and then the gray, which is my rhinestone pattern. All right, at this point I'm going to click on Cut, and now then it's going to start cutting. At this point, it'll probably take about 5 minutes to cut off, so I'm going to stop the video and we'll resume right before it's about to finish. Okay, now then we're just finishing up the cut here. It's doing the last petal. And as soon as it finishes, I'm going to be able to tell you that. I timed it, and I noted when it started. And I was pretty close to my guess. I said it'd be about 5 minutes, and it's just over 5 minutes right now. And it's doing the 2 registration marks, or the 2 alignment circles. Okay, and it's done. Okay, so now then, the next step is to lift the pinch wheels and slide the mat out. And then I'm going to use, I have a little artist palette I use to help lift materials off, because this is really stuck down there. And then, as I'm just going to start peeling this off, and you'll be able to see how many of the circles are stuck to the mat. I'm checking. So far it looks like all of them. Yep, every single one of them stuck to the mat. So then the next step is, before I even put this down on the chipboard, I'm going to show you how easy it is to clean these off, because this is the thing that really drives people crazy is, these little circles, if you don't use a mat, they're going to stick to the back of this, and they're so hard to peel off. But at this point then, I'm just going to use, and what I'm using is a Pampered Chef scraper. You could use an old credit card or any of those devices that are like this that are just a hard plastic. And then I'm just going to scrape these up. And the nice thing is, because they're so sticky, they start to stick to one another. And the other thing is I've noticed that it doesn't seem to scrape my Krylon off the mat, so I don't have to spray my mat again. I can just scrape these up, and then I'm ready to discard them. So just scrape these up and toss them. Okay? Now then, the next step is we're going to put this down onto chipboard. Now you can use stencil board, chipboard. Some people just use paper or cardstock, but I prefer something a little, more firm and more permanent. So I'm just going to put this right down onto my chipboard and smooth it down. And now I'm ready to put the rhinestones in. Now this is, basically a permanent pattern. You do this one time and you can use this hundreds of times. I guess possibly thousands. Okay, so now I'm going to drop this. I'm using an old cake pan. There's other things you can use, trays and stuff, but I just grabbed one of my old cake pans to use. Then I open up my container of rhinestones. And you notice I got these a few of those little circles stuck to my fingers, just a few. That's better than having hundreds. Okay, now then, I just drop these on top of the pattern. Then I have a Sureline brush, and this is the brush you can get in the painting department of, like Home Depot or Lowe's. And then I just begin doing this in a circular motion. And as I'm doing it, I'm kind of watching, and I can see that, some of the holes still need to be filled. So I just kind of keep doing it until I notice that I don't see any more circles or any more empty holes. And that would be one reason not to put your black rubber on top of anything black in the background, because you definitely want to be able to see those holes. Okay, and then at this point, I just start to move them away. And of course, these two up here are my two alignment ones. And then I notice there's just one little one right there that didn't go in. Oh, there, got it in there. And then I check and just, carefully look. It looks like there's a few more there. When there's a few more, you can just drop a few more in there to move around. You can also use like tweezers or something that will help you, or you can use like a little toothpick to nudge them in there. And again, I'm going to carefully check. And look like there's one right there. And also, when I did my pattern, these are 10 SS rhinestones, and the nominal size on those, the maximum is 2.9 millimeters. In my pattern, or in the software, I made them 3.4. I like the way they fall. I think they fall in better if you use about a half a millimeter larger circles in your pattern design compared to, compared to the actual size of the rhinestones. Then I'm just going to lift this out. Looks like I've got a few stuck here on the edge. I want to make sure I don't have any extras there, because I'm going to be laying down my transfer paper over the top, and I don't want to get extra rhinestones. Looks like I got one right there, and I believe that looks clean. Now then, this is the transfer paper, and I've already cut it to size also, and then all you need to do is just peel off the plastic. And then I'm just going to drop this right down over the top. And I'm going to press gently. Don't press too hard, because if you press too hard, you might really shove those rhinestones down inside your pattern. And they'll be harder. They'll get lodged in there, and they'll be hard to lift off. Then I just begin to peel it off. And you watch carefully. If you see any rhinestones not come up, you just bring it back down and press. There, that one. That one right there. Right there. And there we have it. And this is our pattern, and it's ready to put down in our garment and iron.